Teddy? Can you hear me? Okay, so if we do that,
Couldn't get my there's an echo. There was that. So I can't keep speaking.
somebody else pull up the. Oh,
Yeah, you got
God.
an echo.
Yeah, bad. Let me see what I can do. Have to do that. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Can somebody go and check the YouTube liquidation levels and see whether they can hear me talking? I can do it over here as well. YouTube. Got it. Okay, Teddy, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, listen, I'm playing the YouTube now.
I hear not said YouTube.
Wait, let's hear when we hear this again.
I was trying to listen to that video. Godstat put in the group
Hey,
chat.
listen. It's about 20 seconds delayed. That's fine. Okay, so I just let me see if somebody else can confirm. It should be everywhere. We should be live now on the liquidation level chart. If anybody's listening, can you just confirm that?
Yeah, there's a dude down there, Buzz.
There we go. Okay, we're live.
Otherwise, Buzz is being an asshole.
Following the
Putting this
Venezuelan situation, what's the trade? This is the office subscriber space.
Boz, my bad. Yeah, so Boz is giving you a thumbs up. So
Nice, let's go. Wyckoff is playing out to perfection. I said January 2nd. I was off by a fucking day. Okay, let me change that to January 3rd on the Wyckoff. January 3rd or 4th, maybe tomorrow. When's market open? 5th. January 5th might be the resistance level check at 95,000. That's what I think. And then the spring. Or we have the spring today on the Trump speech. And that's 83,000, 85,000 tests, somewhere down there. Big trade day, in my opinion. These geopolitical things are excellent for trading crypto. Can make a lot of money. Okay, let's see where we. Yeah, LQL is looking great. Just catching up. Okay, Threads. I'm on Threads now. Threads is going well. SEC, nothing. It's closed. Gordo Stevens, loving your posts. Waiting for the Trump speech to start. We've got 237.8 thousand. 243,000 people waiting. This is like a Winston Churchill moment, I think.
182. No, it's not. Winston Churchill moment. Oh, that was good. I'm pretty sure. That's a good one though. I'll be nice to Trump.
I mean, it's his Winston Churchill moment. He could make and break it right here. I mean, this is literally basically cutting off China from invading Taiwan. So this is US saying, no, we own chips. We're taking over. It's very interesting.
I mean, we're pretty tight with Saudis, and I mean, this helps stabilize, keeping that oil on the ground. There's a lot of power in that. I think it's going to change some negotiation or like compromise tactics with some of the high up CIA and other organizations that are tied to Mexican and other cartel regimes that have agreements with the United States on funneling drugs and money for favors on each side. Some of those negotiations are going to now ramp up again and change dramatically, I would think, because of the being cut off from the flows of their drugs and other trafficking um, that went through Venezuela that will no longer be able to go through Venezuela.
Here we go. Is everybody clear? We're broadcasting over all of the streams. So let me look at the streams. We have Telegram, Pump Fun, YouTube, uh, X, everything. It's all streaming the same stream now. Two versions of X, I believe. Yes, that's true. Correct. We've got two versions on X going. We're everywhere. Trying to see if I can hook up to Threads.
I wonder if Muskie Musk will shut that
It's going to be a
down.
massive speech. We all want to be here for this. And the reaction in the crypto market's going to be insane. Yeah, I'm on the YouTube channel now. Let me get a little bit of sound going and let's ask people what they hear. Do you guys hear? Do you guys hear me? We are streaming the space over here for the Trump speech. Nice. Okay, it's working, guys. So we're on everything. We're all over the internet today.
So I wonder if it is run up into the speech a little bit more, depending on, I don't know, man. I don't know if we get a weekend activity like you would during the week, during like when the TradFi's sessions open. We might.
I mean, we're at
I'm gonna
90,000. We're holding 90,000. The Reds go to 91,281. That's max pain. So I'd say that $1,000 will probably be an easy call at some
Yeah,
point.
that's what I mean. During the
Uh,
speech or shortly after, yeah. Like I think we have a 1 to 2,000 range on the table to the upside for like before any type of significant drawdown.
if the new, no matter what the news is, I think they'll fake out pump to the north like they always do, dragging in new longs who think it's bullish, taking out shorts, and then do potential fuckery. It's a great moment to do fuckery. If I was a syndicate, I would pay it out. There's yellows to 87,400. Or they continue up, take 92.2, all the yellows, move max pain up into the blues, and then a lot of FOMO buying happens on potential economic booms from US oil prices. Understand that. If the price of gasoline and diesel in the US drops 10%, inflation drops a full point, I believe. Prices go down for goods and services. So these geopolitical events are not just geopolitical events. They're extreme economic impact. Not now, it's lagged, like everyone would say. Lagged, it's lagged. How long is it lagged? But crypto markets front run lagging to a certain degree. That's what they're there for. They're instant liquidity trading. Like, what's actually happening? Not through red tape, regulation, delays, friction, banking bullshit. Like, do you want to bet now? You want to play now? What's actually happening in the world? That's crypto. Bitcoin specifically. Okay. 285,000 waiting on Donald Trump now.
These numbers are like some of the fib tops. Before it was 180, it was going in. Now it's in the 222.
This is insane. Are we going to get 1 million people waiting for the speech?
I don't know.
We're going to break spaces. If we do break, we will restart like we always do, constantly till we start again. We're not new to the rodeo. This is all we do all day long. Fight spaces. Try and get the word out. Okay, here we go. 289,000 waiting now. No new narratives. White House tweets, God bless the United States military with a flag. Circle pumping Sol, Binance dumping ETH,
It's actually
Coinbase
pretty bullish.
stable coins to Wintermute on Solana. We've got the regular shits going on. I don't see anything crazy. This is when you turn to the LQL feed. Is there anything, any chart in any of these feeds that is spiking or looking weird? No. That's why you use LQL for this. You can see no massive
order book
stable
depth.
coin movement. Yeah, go ahead,
I
Wes.
can tell you that. Yeah, I can tell you order book depth is very thick below price, at least on SUI, and I use that as an indicator.
There you go.
So if they do want to dump it, they're going to dump it into a lot of people waiting. So it's bullish, and there could be a narrative reason to push it down, but people are willing to, take that as an opportunity to run into their limit orders. Unless it's market maker depth and it's providing safety from like an epic dump, but I don't think that's the case. I think that this has just been buoyant, like a lot of heavy limit orders.
It's continuation of the run up into the tariff decision on 115. So this is, and to have this Venezuela scenario turn into not even a conflict, like a multiple week conflict that market makers can use, to have this result in the middle of this price run up into the January 15th ruling, it's actually pretty damn bullish. Because this could have easily turned into a multiple week prolonged thing that kind of brought the markets down a little bit.
Max Payne remains 98.57, down from 91, slightly, where the reds meet the yellows. Exactly, 98.57. Good Lord, look how accurate this thing is. Do you see that? Where the reds meet the yellows. That's Max Payne. They're definitely taking the reds on a fake out to the top. They're waiting on the Trump speech.
Oh, 90,000 E. Yeah, that's the cluster there. You can see it on Leviathan too. That's a perfect little cluster before the gap that starts up again in like the 91 zone.
Yeah, 91.4 something is the high block capital next leg up target.
If you look on CoinGlass, you won't be able to see Max Payne anymore. We're reading it from the API, so we still have it. Don't know why there's that disruption. Hopefully they're not taking it away. So fucking accurate. There's pictures of Maduro on board USS Iwo Jima from earlier today. He looks like he's in a tracksuit. He was working out or something, chilling. He looks dirty as hell, but he looks like he hasn't done laundry in a while. I mean, can I say? I'm just facts only. 317,000. There's Trump. He's speaking. Here we go. Watch the markets. Turning off the music. Trump on X.
The heart of Caracas.
Here we go.
To bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military working with U.S. law enforcement.
So far, it's price up.
Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The Caracas was largely turned off.
Well, dark that night.
Expertise that we have. It It was dark and it was deadly.
Did you kill them like dogs?
His wife,
What did Obama say? We killed them like dogs.
Celia
Who
Flores,
said that?
both of whom
Was
now
that
face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We were a respected country again, like maybe like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. And many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was more importantly killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats, you know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills 25, on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela.
Yeah, there we go. And it's not that they come from there; they funnel through there.
Such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious.
You listen to that again, Teddy.
Transition. So.
Yeah, that was a very key point.
That was the key
Having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last law. You knocked out 97%. I mean, scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world.
Okay, after this, right?
There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that.
Yeah.
Even if you just look at the boats, you know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela. And that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. Decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. It's alleged in the indictment he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, the many, many Americans, hundreds and thousands over the years of Americans died because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now, they're on a ship they'll be heading to ultimately New York, and then a decision will be made, I assume, between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. You all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to communities nationwide.
Wow. I don't know that.
In Colorado, they took over.
So that's the lead.
Apartment complexes. They cut the fingers of people that they called police. They were brutal. They're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and our National Guard. It's a job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we
What
have
was the name of the game?
City, where it was one of the most
What's that?
unsafe cities in aversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, in fact, we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place. For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. You all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular the United States. Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide. And he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they called police. They were brutal. But they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, we're with more cities, we're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it with more cities, we're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down. Just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, in very nice Louisiana, and we have done that. And it was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing, and we've only been there for.
Let the speculation
Can you
begin.
imagine why governors would want us to have?
There we go. I think that's it, guys. Let the I mean, he'll talk. I'm listening. Marco Rubio is behind him. But we know the crux of it now.
I thought there was something else that he was supposed to announce that was mentioned on Fox News. There was two things.
We're pulling out of there.
I thought there was some other topic we're waiting for. Maybe not so. Maybe it's just this, and it's just
And
on
likewise, Los Angeles, where
debriefing.
Los Angeles
Job well
early on,
done.
where
We're bullish.
the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. Long after the fires, that's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit. But we'll be pulling out when they need us to call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country. But the gangs that they sent raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were all
Posting liquidation levels after the speech.
They were sent by Maduro.
No effect at all.
And now Maduro will never again be able.
I don't believe the narrative that Trump's speeches affect the crypto market. I think it's all validation that it's manipulated, in my opinion.
For years I've highlighted the stories.
Nothing to do with this shit.
Americans' lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. One of the worst. They say the worst. Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungari from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungari. What happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. It was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons, a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions, they sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers, they were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States. But no longer.
Oil 57.30.
Nobody gets hurt. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized.
Let me look on
and
Arcam
sold
if Venezuela
American
have
oil,
any Bitcoin.
American assets and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. This is a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They
Let's check
took
the
all
US
our
government
property.
wallet. It's
It's
just
our
still the same.
We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill. The socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it. America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people, drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did.
Somebody just mentioned that Venezuela had 480 metric tons of silver.
Adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons.
We need to fact check that.
Interest in life, and they used those weapons last night. They used those weapons last night.
Party? Anyone?
Yeah, what's that? Say it again.
Somebody mentioned that Venezuela had 480 metric tons of silver. I don't know if that's true. We gotta like dig into that. But maybe he's just making a joke.
Okay, let's find out how much silver does Venezuela have. Venezuela does not hold significant silver in its bank.
Oh, okay, so that was just some bullshit.
No,
That
they
would be
almost
funny
don't
as
have.
shit, though.
They almost only have oil. I think you should probably ask how much
They have
natural resources.
161 tons of gold, but it dropped to 53 tons by the end of 2024. They sold almost all their gold they've been selling since 2020.
Damn, that sucks.
As far as natural resources in the ground, how I wonder how much they have. I think they're mostly oil.
Silver and mining and resources. Venezuela, not notable producer of reserve holder of silver. Gold. Some deposits exist, not really. Along with gold, not really important. Official monetary silver, effectively zero.
I'll just keep the Trump thing going in the background just in case he says anything important. But I think that was it. I mean, that was a pretty insane fucking speech. He used words in there that are pretty powerful. We will send our companies in. We will control the country. That's insane. I think it's the Winston Churchill moment, in my opinion. Good comment, Bitcoin Bullcross. Venezuela's about to learn the importance of having Bitcoin. It's not wrong. Anything else going on? Let's look. Or whatever to defend America. We will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone. There you go. It's the purge, like I've been saying on X. We're going through the world purge, global purge, before the insertion of a new world order. 673,000 viewers now on that. This is very good info for me to see. Mario Newfall somehow got the Marty Party liquidation levels to rug. It started again, so he could jump ahead of it. Motherfucker. Just streaming the same thing. Let me see, is it still streaming? Yeah, I'm running the space from on X. Yes, okay, it's still streaming. So let's change the title. Let's go for him today. Should we go for Mario Newfall today and put it in the title? Let's do it. So we got to go to the stream.
Bro, I feel like I just won a prize. I got blocked by Mert today.
Oof.
hemisphere is right now
Don't get me blocked.
a safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here.
I contended with him a little bit on the privacy subject.
Okay. Yeah, I worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some that just weren't good.
So you can change this without stopping it.
I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Pete Hegseth's live. We still got the ding dongs together with the space, right? So cool. There's Pete Hegseth.
Can barely capture the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation. A massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has to offer. American warriors are second to none, the best in the world and the best of our country. What all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit.
Sounds a bit like Hulk Hogan.
The American warrior. I'm simply humbled by such a man. And to our chairman, Dan Raisin King, and all those Americans who stood watch last night. Our warriors are the elite of America. And again,
Wow, so it's a lot of people
President
listening, eh?
has
688,000.
no other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown this kind of
Who's that
leadership,
guy?
courage,
Pete
and
Hegseth.
resolve. The most powerful combination
The next guy.
the world has ever seen. As the president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere.
Oh, your stream is like behind. Fox News is like 20 seconds ahead of you.
Precision,
Oh, okay, hang on,
very
let me see.
long arm of American justice, all on full display.
Yeah, okay, I can get it to live.
And our
The-
years of
This guy,
experience
blah,
in
blah,
details.
blah. 710,000.
On this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise, it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose, to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise. Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore,
Wow.
what was
What crypto did it hold?
Early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel. So as the president said, they could be brought to justice. And as the president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through.
ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings, but when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern time last night, the president ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed.
90,000.
Words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49. And there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons. On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force and self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit, but remained flyable, and as the president said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission. As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision, with no loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to withdraw out of Venezuela. The force successfully exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with indicted persons on board. And both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Iwo Jima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful demonstration of America's joint force. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get it wrong. Our jobs are to integrate combat power so when the order comes, we can deliver overwhelming force at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals and the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness, prepared to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region. This operation is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those who threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I don't have much to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points. Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States.
Who's this? Who's this Marco Rubio? It's very quiet. Turn up his mic.
Trump administration, the Biden administration,
There we go.
the
Thank
Trump
you.
administration, none of those three recognize him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world.
Let me
He's
get this
a
out.
fugitive of American justice with a
Rubio.
$50 million reward, which I guess we say $50 million. And yeah, exactly. But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president, the 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States. And the president addressed it. It's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy. But instead, he wanted to play big boy. So now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think that the message here should be for the world. But the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office because it's not going to turn out well. So I hope that I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it will be instructive moving forward.
Jesus Christ, that was crazy, right, Ted? You heard that?
Yeah.
Jesus, that was a crazy fucking speech by Rubio.
Yeah, Rubio's really doing a damn good job on a lot of fronts. He's earning quite the reputation.
Reimbursed for what they're doing, but it's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they had.
890,000 now watching.
We're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, they always say boots on the ground. So we're not afraid of boots on the ground that we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. Could have lost a lot of people last night. Could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil. We built that whole industry there, and they just took it over like we were nothing. We had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate?
Yes, it's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Would run Venezuela?
Well, it's largely going to be for a period of time. The people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead. You know, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship?
Well, I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco is working on that directly. Just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today, he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So, what are your messages?
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Did he notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved.
We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice. And the Department of War,
this is good.
The Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
Mark, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak.
Let me just go back here.
This would not be good. If they
Yes.
Of American justice. Hey, we watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice. And the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, you know. A lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. We weren't. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
we watched this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know, the safe place is all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. You know, people were wondering, do we get him by surprise? Sort of surprise.
Fucking guys are listening. This is good, right? This is so fun, guys. We've got so much signal right now.
Which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say on average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it. Go ahead, finish.
In the time being right now, do you know his exact?
Well, eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York?
Well, that's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes after.
With
Did
me,
that weigh on your
well, that's
decision?
why we have different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot, and we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right there, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. If we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses yet.
How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want people on the way?
So I like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. We're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is.
So does this mean that Venezuela is a state?
You know, blow up territory. Oil is
Ted?
dangerous.
Right
It's a
now?
very dangerous thing to take out of the ground.
No, just
Or like what do you
without a
call it?
leader.
Like all the territories, right?
No, that would be nuts if it was a U.S. territory. That would be a whole
Fine
different
now.
ballgame.
And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country. Yeah.
Are you saying that
Interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes to
terms
the
of
oil and
China
drugs?
and Russia, well, Russia, when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to get it. In other words, we'll be selling oil, probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure is so big. So
He'll probably be a Venezuelan oil politician, retired oil politician.
now, but I would say many more will come.
Are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that?
What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of
I think
Venezuela?
you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time was stolen from you. You're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country. And they destroyed it. Remember I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened. And we lost the election, 2024 election. We suffered so badly when you look at the border, 2020, what they did, what Joe Biden administration did to our country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we wouldn't have.
Did he say we will start the pumping in Venezuela? Did he say that?
Some of the riches that you should have had for a long time now, but I would say many more will come. Couldn't produce very much because
Still, Russia and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes
terms
to
of
oil and
China
drugs?
and Russia, well, Russia, when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to get it. In other words, we'll be selling oil, probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that? Oh,
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of
I think
Venezuela?
you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time that was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country. And they destroyed it. Remember I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened. And we lost the election, the 2024 election. We suffered so badly when you look at the border from 2020. What they did, what Joe Biden administration did to our country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we would be exactly where Venezuela was in terms of, I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids, and that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending a U.S. military
There could
troops
be
to
a
provide?
team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro. And right now she's the vice president and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco and she said, we'll do whatever you.
That's the woman that I posted the letter about.
I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, you know, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back.
Maria Corina Machado.
Actually, we have the greatest oil companies in the world going and invest billions and billions of dollars and take out money, use that money in Venezuela. And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also, I can't stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela that are now in the United States, and frankly, some want to stay and some probably want to go back. Yeah.
Oil price?
Well, right now they're very protected because nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected. The people of
Market is closed.